to show you how to draw a realistic human eyeball. The tools you're going to need today are a pencil. It can be mechanical or one of the old-fashioned ones. You're going to need a white gel pen, a blending tool, a thin blending tool, and a good eraser. Today the eraser I'm using is this one, and it has an eraser as a tip. I know it looks like a pencil, but it's not, I swear. Let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is draw a light circle on your paper. It should be in the middle, and it should be pretty big, because this is going to be your eyeball. Next, you're going to draw a curve starting here, and curve it around the eyeball, like this. It should end right in the circle because this is the eyeball and the eyelid doesn't expand beyond that, except for right here. So only on one side. Then you're going to curve this around and bring it back in so it touches here. When it touches the circle again, you're going to bend it down and curve that right through here. Then you're going to connect it so it looks like this. If you're unhappy with the shape of anything, now is the time to fix it, because from now on we're going to be adding and shading and all that sort of stuff. For example, I don't love the curve right here, so I'm going to change it a little bit and erase it slightly. I know how everyone always says, don't erase the guidelines, but I'm not going to be that person. You can erase them when you need to. I get it. I have OCD too. Okay, so what we're going to do is the circle, we need to darken this here a little bit because we need to know that that's going to be there. Next, we're going to draw the circle of the eye, or the iris. So right here, we want it about in the middle of the paper so it's easiest. And we're going to draw a line a little bit above the bottom. That's going to be the bottom of the iris. You're going to curve that. You're going to draw a curve, and it's going to go down to the line like this. Sort of like a backwards moon. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Bam! There's your iris. In the middle of that, you're going to have a pupil. And you can know exactly where to put this, because in the middle of there, you're going to draw a little bit of a line. And that's going to be the middle of your eye. You're going to draw a little line on the same area of this. And this is your pupil. It can be big or small, and it can go basically wherever. And there you have it. This is your pupil, and this is the basic line of an eye. If this was all you came for, then good. That's how you draw the basics of an eye. But if you want to know how to make it a little more realistic than this, then keep going. Now you're going to take your eraser. I'm going to use the one on the back of my pencil, not the thin one this time. And I'm going to lightly erase the guidelines I drew. These can get fully erased, but everywhere else, I'm just going to erase very lightly so I can still see it. Okay. I'm going to draw the eyelid of my eye first. And then I'm going to start showing you how to make the iris very detailed. You're going to draw a line that goes up, and it shouldn't be over your iris yet. It's going to sort of bend slightly here and curve around like this. It sort of looks like the hood of a car. Once you have this drawn, you're going to start on here, because this is my favorite part to draw actually. You first need to decide where you want your reflection to go. I'm going to actually have mine up here, and it's going to be a little curve. You don't want it to be too dark. That's the number one mistake I see. Mine is actually going to look sort of like an eyeball, but it's a little circle. But I don't want you to make this dark, because if this is dark, it's going to look like you drew it in there. You don't want a big dark outline. So what you're going to do is you're going to erase everything in there, and you're going to erase the line very lightly so you can still see where you drew it. This is where you're going to stop when you shade it. The first thing you're going to do is lightly shade your pupil like this. Then you're going to draw a little sort of ribbon around your eye like this. Don't make sure not to include it where the highlight is. This is part of your iris, although it's not the easiest to see. Once you get it drawn, you're going to draw a few divots in the lower parts like this. They should connect straight in. If you need help, go right here. And it shouldn't be even, and it doesn't matter how many you put in. You can follow exactly what I'm doing if you want, but not all eyes look the same. So feel free to do whatever you need to do. Also, don't make yours big. These are usually pretty small, so don't fret about it. What you're going to do is around here, make it pretty dark. And you're going to color in your pupil very dark. And when you're done with that, meet me back here. Oh, my lab broke. Notice I'm not going anywhere near my highlight. This is an important factor that will really be noticeable later. Now that you're done, you're going to take your big blending tool and you're going to blend out the edge of your iris, your pupil. When you're done, it should look like this. You're then going to do the same step with this, but as you can notice, the tip of this is a little too big. So this is where your small smudger comes in handy. You can also blend out the inside. Voila! It all looks very realistic, but we're going to do some more details. You're going to draw some curves in here that match where the eye is. Very lightly and only add a few. Good. When you're done with that, you're going to add a few bigger curves that sort of go up and down like this. They should be randomly placed, and you don't need to stress if they don't look perfect. When you're done with them, color them in. Once you're done, start adding more and more lines and darken them, but don't draw any over here. So you're going to want these lines to be pretty thick, but when you're done with the thick lines, add some thin ones too. When you're done with that, you're going to take your small smudger again, and you're going to blend it out over these. You're going to try to blend the lines out a bit too, especially the big round ones. You can also take your big smudger if you need that too. Now's the time for your fine eraser. You're going to take it in there, and you're going to add some light lines a little bit everywhere. If you need to make it a little darker, then you can. Also, if your blending tool isn't making it dark enough, you can go back in with your pencil and lightly shade around the whole area, especially adding some on the inside. Okay, now that you're done with this, you're gonna take your small white eraser. I don't know why I said white, that's random. And you're going to make the line around here very fine. And if your little divots got a little shaded, you're gonna add it back in around here. As you can see, I have 3, but if you have more than that, it's fine. You're going to now take your big smudger and blend out around the edge of the eye. You're also going to blend it in. Up here is going to be very dark because it's the shadow caused from the eyelid is always going to darken up here. So you're going to take your pencil and you're going to do some small little circles that are light up here, because this is what I found is the best way to blend out the eyelid. It can curve down around here too a little bit. Then you're going to take your big smudger and also move in circles to blend. Make sure not to touch up the highlight. If it's getting a little too dark up there, you can blend it out around down here too. Once you're done with that, you're going to re-outline all of this and make it very dark. You're then going to make it almost as dark as the pupil and blend the farthest outer parts in. You can do this with your pencil or your blender, it's up to you, but you want it to be very dark. When you're done, it should look like this. And right now, we're very far along in the process, and it looks great. Well, I can't see yours, but I'm assuming it looks great. Now you're going to draw some lines coming out from the pupil. Don't actually draw them coming out from the pupil, but draw them as if they're coming out from the pupil. Now, they don't all need to be straight, and some of them shouldn't be straight at all. What you're going to do is draw most of the lines looking somewhat like this. Sort of like a little vein coming out. So go ahead and do that for a bit, and when you're done, the whole thing should have a lot of lines in it and almost look like this, but not quite. Oh, and make sure never to don't have it come in and touch the white area right here. Next, for the shading, you're going to take your pencil and you're going to draw sort of a thick outwards line on the outside. Then you're going to blend that in. If any of it has been smudged out, try to erase that, but don't erase the whole blending line. Next, you're going to go in here, and during the closest divots, you're going to draw a dark line. And it shouldn't be straight either. It should be sort of like a wavy thing that follows it. Then you're going to blend the same thing we did here around all those areas. We also don't want the sign to be extremely prominent. So if you need to, you can take your thin blender and blend that line in a little bit so the line is extremely thin. You can also take your thin eraser and make it wider if you need to. You want a fine line between extremely thick and basically not visible. So right now your whole thing should look about like what here looks like, and you can pause the video and go ahead and add it around there. We can also make these lines somewhat darker. this is about what it should look like right now. And right now it looks very good, but I'm going to add a little more detail to here. You're going to blend a bit of this out to add a little more fine lines. At this point, if you want to make any changes to anything around here, you should pause the video and do that now, because you're about to move on. Also, if you want, you can make right here a little bit darker if now that you've added all the shading, it's not that dark anymore. You can blend it a little bit, the shadows a little bit into here if you want. Okay, our next step is getting around the eye to look a little better. So you actually have your skin isn't two-dimensional. So around here, you actually have a lot of skin. So you're going to draw a little thing in here and a line outwards. You're going to then, across the entire underside of this eye, fading in from right here, draw a thin line, a thick line here, like this. This is going to be darker than your eye, but it needs to be prominent. So if you need to blend this out a little bit more, so it's not as prominent as that line, then go ahead and do so. Now, we're going to start on the white part of the eye. I forget what that's called. Up here, you're going to start shading a little shadow up here from the eyelid. And a little bit right here too. We want to blend this line out slightly, but not a lot. So if you don't think you can control yourself with this, you're going to just get your thin one. When you're done, it should look like this. If you need to, you can go in with your eraser and erase part of it because if you think it's too dark or something, and then just resmudge it. It's not going to change anything or look weird. Our next step is going to be doing right here. But before we do that, your eyes have little veins in them, and I know what you're thinking, oh no, I don't want to add this because all the eyeballs that have veins are creepy. That's actually not true. You just have to do it very, very lightly. If you have a smaller pencil, a lighter shade of a pencil, you're going to want to do that. So it needs to go in little areas, and you're just going to sort of make your hand shake a little bit and add a small bit of veins in here. I don't know if you can see it, but sort of right here is where you're gonna, and I'm gonna add some veins over here. Okay. Our next step is right here, as I said. First, we need to make it a little more realistic. It actually sticks in your eye a little bit. Not sticks in your eye, that sounds really gross. It's in your eyeball. It's like a little bit of flesh you can see in your eye. And I'm going to stop talking to make this sound less gross. I'm just going to tell you what to do and stop trying to talk about the eye. So you're going to draw a little divot right here. And you're going to blend it out. And again, shade up here because it's an eyelid. Add a few darker parts in random places based on where you want your light to be. Right here should be pretty dark because I'm not going to explain why. Now it should look somewhat like this, and you can take your thin blender and blend it out. Right here there's a weird connecting piece, so you're going to take your pencil eraser and erase a big chunk right here, and you're going to lightly sketch a line in between, a little shading here, sort of like this. There you go. And this is also a trust the process moment for if yours looks a little bit weird. We're going to start with the under the eye right here, and we are going to blend it out and down. Keep forgetting you can't see what I'm doing. So just keep blending it out down here. And if, like I have with me, there's a thick line right there, you don't want that. So you can take your eraser, gently dab at it, and erase the line, because you know where it's gonna be. And you can just blend it in a little bit. You don't want to erase this area too much. So if it blends in a little bit, you can just go in with your pencil and make it a little bit darker. Make sure this is all blended. And once down here is blended, you're just going to sort of round, like go around full circle. And you're going to want to add a lot of shading right here, because this is where the eyelashes are, and you don't want them to stand out that much because they are natural. Unless you put mascara on them, which I will show you how to draw if you want to put mascara on them. Right here is going to be especially dark. Then you go over here and it's going to fade out a little bit. Then, as I said before, I'm going to blend it out. And right now it's going to look like a weird eyebrow, but I swear it's also a trust the process moment. Just keep going. You're going to want to blend out a little sort of tail right here. And up here, you're going to want a bit of shading too. And if it's looking very streaky, you can sort of turn it on its side, like this. So now you have a good eye. It's really pretty. I swear, I didn't forget. Let's move on to the eyelashes. They're my favorite things to draw because they're not extremely difficult like every other part of the eye. So I think I have some built up rage here. So There are some guidelines for drawing eyes, which I will show you, but don't stress out. They're lines. So thank goodness. You're going to draw a slightly curved eyelash that goes straight up. And you're going to make them long, and you're going to think, that's too long. It's not going to be too long, I swear. Just chill. Trust the process. I will be drawing bottom eyelids, but first I'm going to show you the top eyelashes. Okay, this is going to be a really big curve. And over here, it's going to sort of curve into the eye like this. Eyelashes also do reflect in your eyes, but we're going to focus on that after we draw the eyelashes. In here, you're going to draw sort of a medium curve that goes down and straight back up. And over here, you're going to do the same thing, but facing the other way. This is going to be the thing this is going to be your guidelines, and you're just going to fade them together until they curve like, so right here, it'll curve like that. Right here, it'll curve like that until they fade to like the same curve as the other one. Then filament, what you're going to want to do is you don't want all of them to stick straight like that. You're also going to want to include some that connect together. But don't forget the shape. You can have a few going in a weird direction or having a little too much of a curve. But try to make them mostly going the same way. Because you can't actually add too many imperfect eyelashes. I know, sounds weird. And don't add so many, it's just like a wall of eyelashes. Because that's also a little weird. They should go above the crease in the eyelid, sort of like this long. So I'm going to go let you do that and stop talking. Also, these ones down here should be a little shorter. Sorry. Oh, I forgot to mention, right here, this little chunky thing, this is where your eyelashes grow from. So feel free to add a lot of eyelashes right there. So I said I'd show you how to draw mascara, and I figured I might as well do that while I'm drawing the eyelashes. So as you know, mascara makes your eyelashes look, or maybe you don't know this, I don't know. It makes your eyelashes longer, it makes them darker, which you can do. So if you want to add that, you just make your eyelashes a little bit longer. And a lot of them are going to clump together, so at the bottom of them, you're going to make them thicker. Like this, sort of thicken them up at the bottom, the root area. And you can add some little like chunks that might be in them because it's sort of like paste. So yeah, you can do that if you want to add mascara to your eyelashes. And if you want them curled, should be pretty obvious how to do this. Curl them. And if you need some tips on what you think might be weird looking with your eye, just like put it in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you for what you might need to fix if your eye looks weird at somewhere. So I think it's pretty good with the top eyes, but you don't want it to look so sticking out so much like mine do. So I'm actually going to take my smudging tool and I'm going to blend the bottom of the eyelashes a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit around the bottom because that just makes them seem more at home. Okay, now we're going to do the bottom. Over here, you don't really curl the bottom of your eyelashes unless actually some people do, but like I'm gonna draw them sort of natural. Here it actually sticks up a little bit, but if you just go to like right here, they go down. Here is gonna be very, if it differs a lot, it actually sort of goes straight over here. And if you go over here, it's gonna stick out and then curve here. Here you can actually see all where the eyelashes are gonna be, and you don't want them all to go in a straight line like do. You want it to be sort of varying along where you want to put them. So I'll probably put some like here while I put some like going there, and you're gonna want to do that across the whole thing. So go ahead. Also, some right here are actually gonna stick up. I don't know why, but sort of they get tangled, I guess, a little bit. Also, don't make them too long. They're not as long as the top eyelashes. If there's one piece of advice I have for drawing eyelashes, it's be patient, because you're gonna be like, oh, that's good enough. Like, it is good enough, but do you want to be good enough, or do you want your eyelashes to look good? Speaking of which, a tip I have to offer everyone is when you're done with drawing eyelashes, go back and thicken the bottom of them. That's just an overall tip I have, because, yeah. I figure you're listening to me, so I might as well try to get some helpful information out there. And everyone goes through every artist goes through like an eye drawing stage. So I hope this is very helpful for your eye drawing stage. Okay, so I have finished with that, and I am going to blend this area to make a sort of more differentiated line. And this is pretty good, but if you want to make it a little more perfect, you can actually thicken this area and make it go in a little bit more. And you're actually going to want to blend it out if you do this. You're going to blend it out either way. And this looks really good. I hope you're very happy with how yours looks, because I'm happy with how mine looks. But there's one more tool we haven't used that I talked about at the beginning of the video. So let's use it. The gel pen. Now I have two sizes. I have a very thin one, and I have sort of a medium-sized one. This is an 05 and a 10. So I also have an 8, but I don't think I'm going to really be using that. I'm going to start with the 10, and this is for the highlight. If you guys think you need like a more very obvious, you can sort of add it in, but it's very hard to blend it out. So I wouldn't suggest, oh, I actually forgot something before we do that, sorry. Your highlight is the most obvious part of where your eyelashes reflect in your eye. So you're going to want to go and draw some eyelashes in the highlight of your eye. Yeah, they're basically just going to be the opposite, but they're going to be a little shorter. And if you want, you can also add a small reflection here, like as dark as you did the veins, very light, but if you want to include them. Okay, sorry. Now we can go back to this. I like to include it. I like to add some, definitely a lot here, because I don't know, I'm not gonna you can just add some like dots around it, and like a little in the area where it goes down there. You can add some up here. If you want, you can also add some highlights down here, but I'm gonna need to make it a little darker to add any more highlights, because you also want it to show up. So I'm gonna make this area right here a little darker, and I'm gonna make down here a little darker. So now I can add a highlight and it can be seen. Let there be light. You can add a little highlights behind the eyelashes if you want, like to give the skin a little texture. Like sort of there if you want, but sort of optional. If you also make them too bright with the gel pen, you can just dab it a little bit with your finger. Oh, if you want to, you can take your, like the thin part of the gel pen and add like some streaks of white, is like in here. You can add them like around here. You have to push pretty light with gel pens, I don't know why. Add some streaks of white. Don't add some in any up here, but the eye is very reflective. It's like covered in a glassy sort of thing. So, this is pretty good. If you want some tips, I'd suggest, if you think it's sort of two-dimensional, make it darker. Add some highlights. Maybe make more curvy lines. If you think it looks weird, like the eye looks too big, it's not. Make the eyelashes longer. If you think it looks unblended, but you don't have a smudger or don't want your finger works great. I have a bunch of white gel pen on my finger. You can also use a like kitchen paper towel. It's really simple. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want any other tutorials, put it in the comments. Thank you guys so much and have a good day. Bye.